get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and they. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.
Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, I'm not drinking on anything tonight. I'm just drinking on some lemonade tonight. And tonight's episode is sponsored by Joe Shakinab and Shakinab.com. Go visit Shakinab.com for services, monthly updates, and contact information. Once again, visit Shakinab.com, promoting leadership and scholarship. All right, man. I hope you guys had a great weekend, man. I know I had a great weekend. But, you know, there's been a lot that's been going on, so we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight's episode. Before we get into that, just to let y'all know that Drinking After Dark podcast episodes every Friday, they're uploaded every Friday. So y'all check that out. Y'all can catch it right here on YouTube, or you can listen on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. So, you know, wherever you check it out, please support, man. You know, check it out, man, and, you know, help support the platform. All right. So we're going to get started. What happened? Well, let's go get started with this. All right. Let's start off with the BET Awards. All right. The BET Awards happened last Sunday. And let's just say it was an interesting show. Now, it was, as y'all know, it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop. So pretty much the BET Awards was celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. So if you watched it, you know, you saw a mixture of old school artists and new school artists. You had, you know, Uncle Luke, T.I., Jeezy, Master P. You had, who else? Warren G was on there performing. I'm trying to think who else was on there. Trick Daddy and Trina was on there performing. MC Lyte performed. Who else? E40. And of course, you know, you had who else? I remember seeing Tyga on there performing. I'm trying to think. It was a long show, by the way. Let's just talk about that. It was a long show. And of course, you had some performances by Lotto, Ice Spice. Who else? Coco Jones. You know, pretty much the newer artists to today's artists. Pretty much it was all women, you know, with their solo performances. And also too, man, Busta Rhymes, Lifetime Achievement Award. If y'all haven't actually seen that part of the show, I suggest y'all go ahead and watch that part of the show, because I think it was just, to me, the best part of the award show. Now, with that being said, there's been a lot of comments about the show itself in terms of how the show was ran, how people were dressed, you know, how they were acting, you know, stuff like that. There's been clips, you know, that's pretty much went viral. You know, you had the Lil Uzi Vert, who actually performed as well, by the way. Lil Uzi Vert and JT, they got into a situation where I'm about to touch into in a second. Also, you had what's her name? Sexy Red, and what she was doing in the audience right next to Dr. Bobby Jones. Y'all know who Dr. Bobby Jones is. if you're, a millennial like me that grew up, during the 90s, I'm born in 88. So pretty much my time in the 90s. But I remember before I went to church every Sunday, my mom had it on BET and it was Dr. Bobby Jones gospel. And that ran for like decades. So that's who it is. But all the stuff that was going on, and a lot of people talked about it, right? Guys like Ryan Davis who let people know how he felt about the award show and things like that. So it was so many different opinions about the award show. It was just a lot of different opinions. Here's my opinion about the award show. One, personally, now the show didn't have a host. It didn't have a host. If you don't know, there's a writer's strike going on right now. So usually when you have a host, they have writers that will write, do jokes and, do all these things, basically to keep the show going, right? They didn't have a host. So, with the writer's strike, even though they had the teleprompter and all that stuff going, it was basically people presenting awards. Okay. That's pretty much what it was. And so to me, it felt like the BET Awards was like, I don't know how long it took them to put it together, but it felt unorganized. It felt like junior varsity. It felt like a JV game. That's what it felt like to me, right? Let's get into a couple of things. People were talking about the outfits. That was one of the big stories, the outfits. Some people dress, cool. But others, it was like, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I'm not going to really judge what they were wearing. I just put it this way. A lot of people didn't like the outfits that was being worn at the BET Awards. That's just how it is, right? But I'm not going to really stick onto the fashion because there was other things that's was going on during that award show. I want to touch on something that I don't think it didn't really get enough comments on it. It kind of like just passed over, right? So we all talked about there was a cell phone clip. It was a little video clip of Sexy Red pretty much doing her thing in the audience, and right next to Dr. Bobby Jones. It really blew up, right? Another video that went viral was JT and Lil Uzi Vert, their situation. So don't know, JT got upset and she ended up throwing her phone at Lil Uzi, right? And it was just a whole situation. Pretty much they had to escort them out. But nobody really glossed over that because to me, that's really a form of domestic violence. And nobody talked about that because it was the woman who basically threw her phone at a man. And I was thinking when I first saw that clip, I was thinking like if the roles were reversed, the internet would have been blowing up, social media would have been blowing up, right? But because it was a woman doing that to a man, it didn't get much reaction from it, which I felt like there's a double standard in that regard. If you're against domestic violence, you should be against it all the way through, regardless who's doing the assaulting. You should, basically be upset about that, right? Now, we don't know the backstory. Pretty much people are speculating because, he took a picture with Ice Spice, even though she posted on her social media. People were speculating that they probably thinking they were flirting and all of that. I don't know any of that stuff. Only thing I know is JT got upset. She threw her phone, which is, y'all can see the video. She threw her phone at Uzi Vert, and they had to calm it down. Pretty much they had to escort them out, right? And I felt like that was nobody. It didn't get enough uh, uproar in that regard because we know if it was the other way around, they will be trying to they'll try to cancel Lil Uzi Vert. You know, I'm just saying I'm not a fan of his music, but I'm fair when it comes to domestic violence. You know, if you're gonna scream domestic violence when it comes to women, you should also have that same sentiment when it comes to men. And I felt like it was glossed over, right? It was just glossed over. It didn't get enough uproar. And you know, you kind of feel bad for him because you gotta think where it happened on the night's the culture's biggest night. That's what the BET Awards had, which like I said, it probably was the worst award show, BET award show. I'm just specifically talking about the BET Awards. In terms of organization, in terms of, you know, you had some great performances, like Coco Jones had a great performance, in my opinion. Of course, Busta Rhymes, his speech that he gave at the BET Awards was amazing. His performance was amazing. But you know, you could tell you know, it it just didn't have, you know, the best of the best, in my opinion. Right. Now, one particular part of the show is the Tina Turner tribute. All right. So I hate to say talk about this, right? But we really got to talk about this particular part of the award show. Tina Turner, you know, passed away, you know, and when they did their tributes, you know. Oh, and shout out to Migos, Quavo, Offset. They were on stage together, so I thought that was actually great too to see them two on stage together performing again. Even if it's for one night, hopefully, you know, this could start, you know, the next chapter in their lives, and hopefully we see more performances in the future. Okay, so let's get back to the Tina Turner tribute. Now, Patti LaBelle, who is a living legend, right? I would say this. That was an embarrassment because, you know, Tina Turner she's a legend herself, right? She's a legend herself. And to have another legend come in and basically do a song, you know, for Tina Turner. Now, I don't know if Patti LaBelle chose that song. I don't know if the producers chose that song. I don't know what happened. But I just felt like it was just terribly executed, right? Patti LaBelle didn't know the words. You know, they had the teleprompter right there, but the problem was the teleprompter, when people were standing up, it was being blocked. So I don't know if they could have raised the teleprompter so she can see it. But the problem is that she didn't know the words. Now, I don't know if she actually practiced a week prior or a couple of days prior, but you could tell that the execution was just bad. It was just bad on so many levels. And to me, it was an embarrassment, not only to the BET Awards, but also you got to think Tina Turner, her tribute, and then you have Patti LaBelle. So it's really just bad all the way around. And and to have her just keep going, and she was like, "I'm trying, y'all." It's like, yo, somebody, producer, somebody out there should have told those people, "Hey, sit down. She needs to see this teleprompter. Do something. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening, man. And then, you had a lot of miscues because, it's live. So it's not tape, it's live. And I mean, it was just, I don't know, man. It felt like it was just put together overnight. That's what it felt like. And if it executed like it was just put together overnight. And it wasn't a good look. And all of that. And here's the thing, people are now, let's just be real. People saying Tyler Perry, congratulations. Tyler Perry himself has not actually came out and said he bought the BET Awards. Having bought BET and all of that is out there. I guess he's near a deal, but we don't know yet. It's been speculation. He was going to buy it, and of course, VH1 is part of that deal as well. But it just, when you don't have the biggest stars showing up, right? And I guess, because I guess the theme of it is, celebrating, the 50 years of hip hop, which they did at the Grammys, right? What they did at the Grammys was amazing, right? What they did at the Grammys was amazing, how they put that set together at the Grammys. And then, the BET Awards, it felt like, I'm going to tell you what the BET Awards felt like to me. It felt like the hip hop awards, BET Hip Hop Awards, disguised as the BET Awards. That's what it felt like. Because check this out. You got people who won that didn't even show up. Tiana Taylor didn't even show up. She won an award. Her mom accepted on her behalf and then decided to call her, in the middle of accepting the award, and nobody could barely hear it. And then Beyonce won 2 awards. Now, she's on tour. Let's just be honest. She's on tour. I don't remember the last time Beyonce showed up to a BET Awards, but, she's on tour doing what she's doing. Who else? I think they were like the only 2 that won that didn't show up. I think so. But I know Lotto won. I know Coco Jones won. It just, the BET Awards did not feel like a BET Awards, right? And it's been a lot of calls to like, this is the reason why Beyonce don't come to the BET Awards. You got like, they mentioned Denzel Washington don't come to the BET Awards, or the biggest stars in Black culture don't show up to the BET Awards because of this. And I just think that, there is some truth to that, obviously. And it goes to show you that the value of the BET Awards, to the up and coming artists, is big for them, right? But to those who are like, highly successful, the biggest name in Hollywood, music, entertainment, they're not there. They're not there. And it goes to show you like, where is the BET Awards headed? And I'm gonna be real with you guys. I didn't even know until a couple of days before the BET Awards that they were having the BET Awards on that day. I didn't know, because it used to be, when I was growing up, it used to be a big hype. You knew, a couple of months in advance, this is when the BET Awards is happening. This is going to be the host of the BET Awards. It didn't really have that much hype around it. And that's why I can't really say the show was not good. To me, it was okay. I would say that, but it wasn't disappointing in the fact that leading up to it, what was you expecting? So, and with the tribute to the with the tribute, Master P brought this up on the pre-show. You know, the fact that, you know, you don't have Rap a Lot there, you don't have Cash Money there, you know, it's, you know, I get it. It's 50 years. And of course, you know, they probably have them scheduled for, you know, the actual hip hop awards. But, you know, the BET Awards is something that should be celebrated amongst everybody. But, you know, a lot of people saying Black excellence, which, you know, there's a lot of, you know, excellence in the building. But you have people comment and say, basically saying you're getting TikTok influencers and reality stars there, and you're not really getting the actual stars in the building. You know, listen, some of them were probably busy, some are like, yeah, I'm not coming, you know. And those who, this is like their award show, you know, this is like their Grammys, this is like their Oscars, this is, you know, this is their big moment. But we gotta wait to see what happens next year. We gotta see what happens next year. How they're gonna do it next year. They might implement a dress code. Who knows? Because, you know, a lot of people were talking about these dresses and all this stuff. It was just, it really wasn't a good look. I would say it wasn't a good look. All that we can say is let's wait till next year, see how the award show turns out. Probably better organized. Probably, you know, the writer's strike should be over by then. So they should have a host, but they should build up the BET Awards, right? They should build it up. Because, you know, last few years, it didn't have that same hype to it. So we'll see. We'll see how the BET Awards go, and make sure that, hey, people rehearse. They are rehearsing before they go on stage, right? So if you're gonna do any tributes, you know, make sure the person is the performer is very well performed, very well prepared, not performed, prepared to actually give a performance. So those are my comments. You know, like I said, the BET Awards, I just felt like it was okay. Some of the artists I was actually glad to see, right? I was glad to see the 69 Boys, right? I was glad to see even Shaggy perform. You know, glad to see Shaggy. And that was a good thing too, man. They gave reggae a platform too, you know, to go up there and shine and all of that. So I was glad to see that. Again, you know, to see some of the artists that I grew up listening to have them come out there and, you know, perform. But, you know, this is they probably had to separate it. They probably had to separate some of the artists and everything. So you probably see some of the artists performing at the BET Hip Hop Awards. All right. And make sure the sound is good too, because there's been a lot of complaints about the sound pre-show and at the award show. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I think there will be a lot better next year, because they don't want to have back-to-back years of disappointment, right? So I think they'll get it. I think they'll get it together. Y'all comment below. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about the BET Awards. All right. Another topic, pretty much is gonna be the last topic right here. Oh, well, no, it's not. It's something else I think I want to talk about. But if y'all don't know, in the news, a 14-year-old teenager out of Chicago and his mother were both charged with murder. Fortunately, the charges were dropped. I'm glad the charges were dropped. If y'all don't know, it was a video that went viral. There was a man that's pretty much him and the 14-year-old's mother got into an argument at a restaurant, and pretty much he completely lost control and he started swinging on her, beating on her like she was a man. And she called her son, who was outside thing waiting in the car, and he came in and did what a 14-year-old is supposed to do, protect their mother, right? We all seen it. We all know the charges should be dropped. We all agree on that. I'm not going to talk about that part. This is the part I want to focus on because I saw the video. This what makes me upset. There were grown men in that restaurant that could have got in between the both of them. The moment he starts swinging, I seen, okay, you have women there, but I seen some men walk out the restaurant too. And I thought that was a bitch made move right there. All right. For one, it didn't even have to escalate like that. Where was the manager at the restaurant? That's the first thing, in my opinion. If you see people arguing like that as a business, you want to like, hey, y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go. Just go. We can't have that here. Right? That's the first thing. The second thing is this. When you see that happening, you know, we had a point where it's like, well, it's none of my business, yada, 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 whatever. I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, this guy who lost his life probably could have still been, could be alive right now if a man who was there would have stepped in and basically just got in, between them. Right? Didn't do that at all. A 14-year-old doing what it's supposed to do, protect his mother from that attack. We all seen the attack, and nobody's disagreeing with the actions. But at the same time, you got to think, you put a 14-year-old is put in an adult situation. I mean, we all would have done it. We would all have done it. That's why we were kind of like outraged that they were being charged. But the next day, like, hey, dropping the charges, the video is out there. You did what you're supposed to do. Now, we all know state laws are different. So I guess in Illinois state law, it was well within their rights, right? I'm not too sure about their state laws and how they run, but I know every state law is a little different. So, but regardless where you at, as a boy or even as a girl, you'll do everything in your power to protect your mother. All right. But we all know it shouldn't even have to come to that. You have two adults who are arguing, right? As a man, you know when it's really about to go too far. You know this. And you know when that dude's about to do something, but you don't step in. There was men there that could have stepped in. The manager or whoever the assistant manager was on at that time, they could have came out from the back like, no, you got to leave. You got to go. Right? Or they could have been like, hey, go out there. We're bringing your food. Just go out there. We don't need this right now. Somebody could have stepped in, but they never did. Now, you got a 14-year-old boy who was put in an adult situation, and then you got a man who lost his life. Because nobody stepped in earlier to defuse the situation. That's my thing, right? And I just felt like, and don't get me wrong, man. You got, if we're gonna be honest, I don't know who could disagree with the 14-year-old shooting the guy. I don't think nobody could disagree with that. And shout out to the DAs for dropping the charges. Because that clip went viral and they saw who the aggressor was and everything like that. So you gotta do what you gotta do, protect your family. And you hated to see, like, that's why I went that route. Right? Because, like I said, you had grown men that was there. And when you see them, I'm like, yo, there were men right there, and they didn't even try to get in front of that dude. What, you afraid to take a punch? That's all I'm saying. It was a bad situation all around, the way it was handled. Too many people. Now, shout out to the person who had their cell phone, because, it could have been, even though they had cameras there, but shout out to the person with the cell phone that actually put it up so that everybody could see this was self-defense. So shout out to that person. But everybody else could have stepped in and be like, hey, break this up. And we don't need this. You know what I mean? And those men that was there, I ain't got no respect for y'all. All right. Now, this is the last topic before we get out of here, man. We got to talk about the I really didn't want to talk about it, but I guess we'll talk about it now. If y'all know about the little submarine thing with, that went down under that and imploded, the passengers passed away. It's been a lot of talk, right? That was pretty much the talk for, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It was pretty much the topic, right? Got a lot of coverage, even though nobody talked about the other passengers that, from another boat that went missing, which it should have been covered. Yeah, should have received, to me, probably more coverage. Well, no, I'm not gonna say more coverage. I'm gonna say that around the same amount of coverage as this capsule. And what it was, because people, one, it was the Titanic, so they got into this little capsule thing to go, I guess, explore the Titanic, like get up close and personal for to see this Titanic. And the cost was pretty much like the big topic, right? So it's $250,000 per person. And pretty much you heard the comments saying, or people out there saying, this what happens when you have too much money, you don't know what to do. Right? And the fact that you want to get up and close to, the Titanic, which we could clearly, you have explorers down, they go, and we've seen up close images of the Titanic. So I'm not understanding why you want to do that. Also, too, you in this little contraption that when you go down, you have to understand that's a lot of pressure that's coming, right? There's a lot of pressure. And basically what they're saying is like it's kind of like a game controller that was controlling the whatever you call it, right? And, unfortunately, they lost their lives. To me, that's not a joke. When somebody lose their life, it's not a joke. But a lot of people are making jokes. I don't think the fact that they lost their lives, but it was the fact that, if you're able to spend money to go on this exploration, I guess, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion, why not have, pay your own independent experts to see if this is safe for you to go, right? Because, remember, they were trapped in there, and not were they trapped in there, but, they didn't have any other protection whatsoever. Maybe they have, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure, but I do know is this. We all knew that contraption wasn't going to hold with that pressure going, 2 miles down in the ocean. It wasn't. And everybody talked about it. You saw all the, the TikTok videos or Facebook videos, Instagram videos, just all on social media, people talking about it, basically making fun of it and all of that stuff. Crazy. It's crazy. But personally, if I had that type of money, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? That's something I'm not doing. Is spending $250,000 to go see a Titanic deep in the ocean. I could see that on TV, where they clearly have the equipment and all the necessities they need to show us up in close and personal from a TV screen everything that's there. So I just don't understand it whatsoever. Once again, it's sad that they lost their lives, but at the same time, I think probably 99.9% of the population wouldn't even do it. In terms of in that contraption, you see what I'm saying? And whatever they were in, y'all tell me what it is. I don't know. They probably had a name for it, but I can't tell you what it is. But not in that. So that's just my opinion. All right. So we're coming to the end of the episode. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Also, make sure y'all check out the new episodes every Friday on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Also, y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to this channel, and make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So let's get these numbers up, man. Let's continue to support this platform. And, and any suggestions in terms of drinks and anything like that, y'all let me know. Y'all know I'm going to start recording more reviews and all of that, so that'll be out shortly. So if y'all have any suggestions, y'all let me know. And also, I'll, drink it on the platform. You know what I mean? Y'all know I'm a Crown guy, Crown Vanilla. That's my thing. So if y'all have any other suggestions where I should try, please comment below, and I'll give it a try. All right. Until next time, I'm Darius from Drinking After Dark Podcast, and we out. Peace.
Gotta get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.